call. And today I'm going to talk about bulk email, bulk inserting records, and bulk updating records. So all things that you can do from a report. They're super helpful. Bulk email, obviously, sending out messages. There are some rules, kind of policies around bulk email that I'll talk about when I get to that stage or that part of the conversation. And then bulk email or bulk update and bulk insert are both things I do regularly with clients to clean up data. You might want to use a bulk update to reassign cases. If there's a bunch of cases to people, there's probably lots and lots of use cases for that, but it allows you to update information across multiple records. And bulk insert allows you to actually add sub-records to your clients. So maybe you're adding a communication record. I'm going to add a progress report today. But there's, again, all kinds of use cases for all of these different functions. So all of them will start on reports. Always and forever things with the databases, and I won't go into too much detail about it today, but you'll want to understand your tables and fields structure in order to really pull the proper report, but kind of high level because SAM is based around families and children. You can quickly discern, are you going to add some information to child records? Are you going to add information to family records? High level, kind of just as an example. So my focus is today going to be on, I'm going to stay on one report. I've got a report, this foster care placements, all on my report menu. You can find all the reports on the sidebar if you're now currently in the new interface, where you can flip through the different options that your team and your organization has set up. And you can always go back to your report menu, which is your custom reports that you use for your job on a regular basis. So I'm going to pop into here. The first thing that I'm going to talk about is bulk updating records. So I went into this report earlier just to see what kind of data is in here. I can see just high level on this report, I've got a bunch of agency caseworkers not assigned. So I am going to go and bulk update my records here to give some of these records a value so that person can know that they're assigned and can improve that caseload. So my first step is going to be around filtering out the records because I'm already assigned here, or Samantha is assigned here. I don't want to affect that record. I'm really looking at the records that do not have values in them. So I'm going to click on the column and filter out or exclude records that have values entered into them. So now I have, I don't remember how many kids were there. If there were 100 kids, I've got 46 kids, something like that. And then perhaps I'm not actually updating every single one of these 46 kids too. Just another way to filter is click on a specific record in the site that has a value, and I can exclude, or maybe I'll filter by that. So we're going to say, oh, I didn't even plan who to assign, but I'll find somebody in the list. We can see in this agency caseworker column, there's no values entered here. And so that's what I'm going to fill in with this action. So just so you know, you do not have to use bulk update. That is a nice to have feature of the system. I can actually click on a record and I could go find that field, agency caseworker, and I can assign it, right? So I can choose here. I know there is a person named Samantha. So I can pop that in. That is totally an acceptable way of doing this. It's just bulk update is a nice way to reflect all of the records that have one value all at the same time. So once you have your report filtered to the records you want to affect, you can click this hamburger menu, and the sidebar will open on reports, and there's an option to bulk update records. Once you're here, you're going to be telling the system what you want to update. So you can choose multiple. I'm just going to choose one. Again, knowing where your data resides in your table structure is going to be important. A lot of things when you are servicing a client are going to be on the case. But if you're affecting something like, progress reports later, I'm going to choose that specific table, or I could be updating placements. Maybe the status isn't set on any of these, things like that. So I know that this field I'm looking for is on the child case. I'm going to select that field, and now I'm going to tell it who I want. So this is a new type of field type for this interface. I can choose and I can start typing in a record that matches. But let's say we don't remember how to spell somebody's name, I don't know, whatever, various things. There is this little drop down, and it'll allow you to see everybody that's here. So I'm going to grab somebody else's name. There is also that is not what it should be showing us. So forgive us for that. That's just, I'll need to do some updates on that. Generally, that little filter will show you if there is a filter on this, right? Like this is connected to person records in your site. You might over years have thousands and thousands of people records, but you only have 20 people that work at your organization, and that filter will show you a way or show you how you have that filtered. So if the record you're trying to find is not in that, you can you would need to go to the record, like Emmanuel's record, and actually set him or them as the caseworker, or however this happens to be filtered by, so that they would show up. Okay. I'm going to go through this again to look at other options here. I just wanted to keep this one very simple. I'm going to press save. Sam is going to show you we are updating the agency caseworker to Emmanuel for all of these 11 records. So it's an opportunity for you to just double check your work. It is tough to double check your work if you've got hundreds or thousands of records that you're affecting. So knowing your report is going to be important, but generally you might, this is what Sam allows, and then I'll confirm. And then the thing is done. Now, it shows no records because I have a filter on this report of agency caseworker is empty, right? So if I go back to default, I could now pull Emmanuel by clicking him, and I'm going to filter by this. And here are those 11 records that I updated. And you can see all that data is updated here. Before I move on, do you have any questions about that specifically? Or does anybody have any experience in using bulk update that would be a good use case for how your team has used it in comparison, or to aid other people in understanding when it might be applicable for them? David, do you ever use that?
Yes, use it quite a bit.
What do you kind of things does agency do?
Like if the case manager changes, new staff, it's just easy to choose who they're supposed to have and change the name.
Yeah. Okay. I think sometimes data could be off, right? Your records, maybe a rule changes and maybe it updates the date. Instead of having to do something 60 days ahead, actually now you've got only 30 days to do something. I don't know. You can change values as well. So let me see if I just thought of another, in looking at the bulk update, what other options are there. Let me see if I can find something really quick to do things based off of. I'm going to look here. case start date, case end date, case start date. Let's do things in 2021. Okay, this is like a really old data in here. 2021, I still have some active. I'm going to filter by active kids. Okay, I am going to just set the end date of this to keep it simple, but I'm going to set it as like based from the placement start date. Okay, so I'm going to only affect these 5 kids. We'll go here, bulk update records again. I'm going to add, this time instead of the case, I'm choosing the placements because I'm going to affect the placement end date really specifically. Click placement end date. And instead of just putting a value in, right, like today's date of just I'm swath ending these placements, I might set it from another value. And you'll use this little gear icon to do that. You will actually see this in auto actions too, I believe, where you're setting things from another, or you have the potential. So from here, or even from the current date, right? So we have 2 options here. We can set the field value that we want to set from another field, and which is the choice I'm going to make, or I could change that to the current date and set it from, from today plus 5 days is, well, February 17th would be my date. Okay. Then I'm going to choose from another field. And the field I'm going to choose is from the placement start date. And of course, you would probably never do a thing like this because placement end dates end, when they do, and it's variable depending on the needs of that kid and the family. However, this is just an example. And there's a lot of different use cases for this type of function as well. So I'm choosing from another date or from another field. I'm setting the specific field that I'm going to do it from. And now I need to tell Sam, what am I setting as the placement end date? So in this case, I'm just going to put what they were all way over 1,000 days. I'm going to put 900 days. I have no idea what that value is going to be. It's going to vary for those kids because they all had different placement start dates. They were all just, if I recall, was 2023. We'll press save. Okay. And so I'm going to remember Candy as a last name and Willis, and I'll in 2023. So that we can look at that report and see what happened to it. Press confirm. This function is not taking very long on 4, 5, 10 records. If you are bulk updating 200 records, it will take a little bit longer of time because it's just going through all those records and making adjustments to the database. So be patient with it while it's doing its thing. Let me just see if I could search. The placement start date was it 2021? I think so, because there's a Willis and a Candy. So now a couple things have happened because I have auto actions and things happening. Just our data has been filled in. So I'm just going to look at one kid, but what you can see is Stefan here also has 900 days. Jessica had 900 days. So however I had filtered it before, we can see that we have these exacting numbers. And if I filter by just one of these kids, we see that the placement end date is now entered, and it is variable depending on whatever 900 days is from that placement start date, which Sam is telling me is 6/29/23. The other thing that happened by doing this, because I have an auto action, is the placement status got updated from active or nothing to discharged. So in doing the bulk updates, this literally is writing to your database and will trigger other things that you may have set up. Before I move on, does anybody have questions on that? Because that is a little bit more challenging in its setup. but I just want to make sure you guys feel comfortable with that part. Be good? All right. Okay, so let's default here. Now I'm going to do a bulk insert. So this is literally adding a sub record to this main record. And I'm going to do a progress report. Shucks, I forget what I filtered it on this morning. Doesn't really matter ultimately. Progress reports generally going to be done by kids who are active. I will narrow it down to just some groups of kids, so I'm not a swath affecting all of this stuff. And perhaps I'm going to do also search by placement start is within the past 2 months. Oh, that's not months. That's weeks.
Email as well.
Okay. So right here, I've got 5 kids that I'm going to affect. We'll go up under here. And instead of bulk update, I'm doing bulk insert. Now I'm going to tell Sam what type of records am I going to insert. So I've heard people do, certainly you could do documents. You could, I mean, really you can do any of these things. Communication records, a group of kids came to a group session. You can send that or add records to them. If families came to training, you could add that kind of record to them. Maybe a couple kids were involved in a particular incident. All of that could be done. So I'm going to add progress reports under the placement and press save. So now that I've chosen what is the table, now I'm going to tell Sam what I want to actually add on that record. So under the progress report, I am going to be setting the due date. I'm going to set it from the placement date. So I'm going to find the placement and the placement start date. And we'll say this is due 30 days after. And then I can also add, what's it called here? The report type, and just say this is a monthly report. I can keep going, right? So not every field makes sense to enter. I could try this, like setting who it should be written by. Maybe we set it from the case agency caseworker, since we just kind of went over that, where I am now adding data or records that my team needs to complete. They need to do progress reports for all these kids. Press save, shows I'm going to be updating this data on these specific kids. Let me get a Jocko test because I want to show you what it's actually doing. And I'll press confirm and go. Cool. Nothing got updated right on this report because I'm not pulling progress reports, but I'm going to go in and show you where that got entered. This is an auto action. I think that we talked about from that bulk update. I guess I updated this kid. So anyways, this is going out. I'm just going to cancel this, right? So your things are actually happening. Oh, it's not the kid that I'm looking at. It's really all of those kids that I discharged. I really hope I don't have to do this too much. I can't remember how many kids were there. But a lot of things started happening when I did this bulk update, which is important to know, right? You may make choices when you're managing your database around what you want to disable, because maybe you're just doing cleanup. So you need to disable emails from going out while you're getting things cleaned up. It's really going to be specific to your goals for that action. So under placements and adoptions is where, and under the specific placement is where I'm going to find progress reports. And now I have a monthly progress report added here. Apparently Samantha, which is me, is the caseworker added to that record. but we see the 3 data points, the monthly, the due date, and who is written by entered, or who should be writing it, right? Who's responsible for getting that done? Anybody have questions on bulk insert of records? And David, do you guys use that tool?
Some, but not as much.
Yeah. What do you think you use it for? Do you use it like communications?
That would probably be the case.
Yeah. Yeah. It really depends. You might want to add, like, you might be restructuring parts of your database and you're going to like add a new section for team members, and anybody who's listed on a record, you're now adding a team member record for them. It could be all kinds of things, but essentially any data point or record type that's under that particular main entity, you can now affect globally all your records or whatever subsect of your records to have additional detail on them. It's really powerful, really, really helpful. This is the one that made sense to me. Does anybody have like Pam? I can just see your face. A lot of people are blacked out here, so I can't see anything. But do you guys use this at your organization? No? Any use cases for it by chance?
It may be coming up, but we haven't utilized this feature yet.
Some other things, like what I'm thinking about, people have groups of records when you're audited, right? Or maybe when you are auditing your own records, you might create a new table that is audits or case reviews or something like that, that then your team, every time the state licensor says, I need to see ABC kid and ABC families, you could add records that whoever was the licensor name reviewed it on whatever day, they made any of these notations on it, right? All kinds of, I mean, it literally can be used for gobs of different things. Literally anything that you wanted to add to a record to build up your history of your record could be added. Thanks, y'all, for sharing, and let me call on you. Okay, so now we'll talk about bulk update, or sorry, not bulk update, bulk emails. In order to send a bulk email, you have to have a template. So I won't go into lots of detail. I'm right-clicking, opening in the settings screen and accessing templates. So you'll build a template. I have a template based under child progress reports. Oh, not progress reports, just placements for discharge. We literally just saw that come up from an auto action, but I'm going to go in discharge, or I'm really just going to send it out. It doesn't really ultimately matter if I actually have a placement end date entered or a discharge date entered. I'm just going to send the bulk email off to some people. Okay, so making sure you have a template. Viewing, let me back up a step. I talked to my team about not going fast. I use filtering templates all the time. These are ways to narrow down, to see if you have a template that exists. Over years and years of using a database, you will often have a lot of old stuff. I see templates in here that are labeled 2020, note for whatever. That stuff can eventually go away unless you use it as a template, because you're probably unlikely to be resending that. Just so you know, you can clean up to help your team navigate better. But I use this all the time because there could be hundreds or thousands of templates in the system. So filtering down to, again, the specific table, what are we talking about? We're talking about placements. These are the templates that exist on there. And I'm, again, just going to choose that. I can click this link. And here you can change the values in here for the information. This isn't really a conversation on templates. So just want to make sure you see this, that it exists. Make any changes you want, and then you're going to go back to your report. So at default, I am going to choose some kids, filter out blank values now. So I'm going to go to kids who have a placement end date entered. So it'll kind of make sense. Maybe I'll filter also by in the current year, see if I actually get anything. Of course not. I'm gonna go back and then go to my search. I'll now add a filter, just try something a different way. I've got a couple ways to do things. I'll go to placement end date and I'll put in a specific year of 2024. I'm gonna say it must match all the filters. And there's 8 kids. So ultimately, I still don't want to send to this many kids. So I'll send here. Oh, and do we have anything else? Because I don't want to get a bunch of emails. That's fine. I don't even know if this will go out and info to all these people because there may not be an email. So knowing what your email is about, who you want to send to is also going to be important for what type of report that you pull and how you set up that template. Once we're here, I'm going to send a bulk email once you've got it your report narrowed down. The first screen is showing you what entities it's going to exclude from this bulk email. Right now, we don't have any filters on it, so it should go out to any records. But things where you may not want to send an email out to somebody who has specifically requested not to be contacted, then you wouldn't send that, and that could automatically exclude. So it's just verifying here. When you press through there, you're going to choose what emails, like who do you want to email to. Now, there's the main entity, which is the child. In this case, very infrequently, you're actually going to be sending emails to a child, but you can also send emails to other entity types, which are generally more adults that are on that are connected to the tables on the template. And I know that's kind of confusing, but when we're here and you have selected the tables when you're building this out, it is important to know, who are you going to be emailing to? Most of the time, roles are associated at the case level, but they might also be at the placement, like the foster family is listed there, and they're listed on the placement. So I don't also need to pull this here. But from these 2 tables that are connected, I get to choose any other entities that have email addresses in order to send emails out to them. So I can choose to send to the foster family, birth parents, the adopted family, because that might be on the case, their current agency, etc. There's all kinds of different people I could actually email to, depending on how we have our system set up. I will set this. I would actually like to send off to the agency caseworker and choose their work email. Now, there's gobs of different email addresses available on that specific worker. Generally, you'll do to their work or their home email. People have created new email addresses. So if you have a bunch of different email addresses, they're all going to be listed here for you to choose from. When you've made your selection of who to send to, you'll press send. I only have email addresses listed for a couple of folks, which is why, even though, I don't know, did I start with 6 or so records, only 2 of them have an email address that I can actually send to. So I'm going to move through that. Just press save here. And then I should be on a page. Oh, I'm now telling it what email am I going to send. I'm sending that placement discharge email. So there's templates that are based primarily on the case, or multi-record templates, which is a placement is a multi-record template. Placements, because they can happen many, many times, multiple times. That's where that terminology is coming from. on the case. I'm going to choose the child discharge. And then I think at this point now I'm at the bulk email details screen. So when do I want to send this? I'm going to send it now or schedule it. I'm going to go ahead and send this one immediately. Sending it emails or intervals. Now, I have a slightly different view than you guys do of permissions. I'm pretty sure at this point, you guys only can send emails at intervals. And this is there. In the future, we're probably just going to remove it because it goes out in intervals of 1 minute, so that it doesn't bog down SAM or your email server and look like spam. Where I can choose who do I want to send it from. Is it me? I don't know if I have my email account set up here. So it may give me a bug or not a bug, but a error or warning notice that I don't have it set up, but I'm going to try through. I could add attachments. I do have a choice on miscellaneous options of whether I want to add a communication record for this or not. I have literally in 18 years never clicked this, but it is an option for you. You can also set whether or not you want to send it as a plain text and HTML so that email, I'm losing the technical term for them. Your email account, like if someone's email account cannot accept HTML for some reason, the message will still get through. You do have an opportunity to change the subject line. Subject line is pulled from the template. And you could also personalize the body here. So you could add more information if needed. Boop. And then when you're ready and satisfied with your message, you can press send and it will go. This email, I mean, I'm got my fingers crossed that I'm connected. Looks like it. Sam is taking us to really the bulk email detail screen now to let us know. At this point, it says that it's already completed. It went out, although I have a feeling that -1 feels funny to me. But my assumption is this went out. Let me see if I refresh this. I think, again, my email may not be set up. I should have checked that before. Says that it is, but I think I may have something a little bit funny. The email will tell you if it got sent, was it successful? All the emails that were sent. I'm not sure what the difference in these two is, to be honest. Number of emails sent, successful and unsuccessful. My assumption is this is then those that actually were received successfully. That's what I think that is, but I need some clarity. Here's our subject line and advanced information, kind of what is the report that, the template that we sent, and then the report that it came from. If I open this up, this is literally the filtered report of these are the records that you sent to. So that's will help you re-see what you needed to know. This child, it got sent. Feel like now I'm not really positive which of those people that it gets sent to, but when you send bulk emails, the message will go into the communication record. So I don't know which of those kids had an agency. It was literally not them. I don't see it here yet. I have a feeling there's a little bit of a lag. A couple of issues may have happened is it doesn't look exactly like my email got sent out. And two, there is a small amount of time before that email is then pulled into the communication record. I think it goes every 2 minutes is how that happens. So it may take a couple minutes for that to get in. One thing to say, SAM is not an email marketing system. It is not. This is for communicating to your case records on transactional things that need to be done for the case. So you should not use SAM for sending a mass email out to 3,000 people to invite them to a picnic. You should use an email marketing software for that. This is really for transactional emails, like updating the caseworker and sending them an email out to say, you've been assigned a new case, that kind of thing. Not a mass email for any sort of solicitation for donations or anything like that. And with that, I am now done.